Inclusive education has been a challenge in Cape Verde.
For the last 10 years, Cape Verde has been committed to creating the conditions so that every child has access to education, regardless of their physical, intellectual, or cognitive needs. This study, Good Practices in Inclusive Education of Children with Disabilities in Cape Verde, was undertaken by Handicap International. It was carried out on the islands of Santiago, Vicente, Fogo and Brava, and focuses on preschool, primary, and secondary schools.
We raised awareness about inclusion, and when we announced these classes at the general meeting, everyone agreed that it was a good idea. Today, the teachers are proud of themselves, and we feel a totally different school environment. I did training in Portugal. I have a bit of experience in Portuguese Sign Language, but it is minimal. So I did some training in Senegal, a bit of French Sign Language. It is also little. So we get together, because locally a group was started, and we can benefit from each other's knowledge. With their growth, they were included in the projects. These children are in English class. They also have a very important subject, which is music. The national anthem is their responsibility.
How has your experience been at Pedro Gomes High School?
Being at home, doing nothing, just did not work out. I was always thinking. Then Jesus came to speak to me and asked me if I wanted to go to high school. And I said yes. I wanted to go and study abroad. I like studying. Sometimes they understand better than we do. I think that they are like us, as everybody else. These children taught me a lot. If I don't understand them, there are a few of them that speak a little. I ask, and they teach me. Yellow is like this. In fact, we have deaf students for the first time in secondary school because what was happening with the students is that they studied up to the 5th or 6th grade, and there was no answer for them at secondary level. A deaf child does not go to high school. Well, the child does not go to high school because the school was not prepared to educate him or her. So it was from that group who finished the 6th grade that we contacted the school and the director, already aware of this field, to educate a group of deaf children. The best possible answer in secondary education was, in fact, to create a mixed group of deaf and hearing students, but in a small group. They are in the classroom with teachers, and there's a person who is interpreting what is being said in all subjects. There was a partnership between the Ministry of Education and the AADICD in order to support deaf children. We can say that AADICD sought out the school. It was not a project that started within the school. It came from outside into the school environment. As a mother, I am grateful that I am here because I have to understand what I did not see my child learning. So I teach with more enthusiasm. Because, for example, Here, as a mother, I have more to give. What I suffer is what my child suffers. I feel more comfortable to teach with more affection and more love. Beforehand, the education of deaf students was about zero, almost non-existent in Cape Verde. Then, after this class was established, I felt like someone else. At the beginning, I felt pressured. It was a new experience. I thought I had nothing to give. But with the socialization with the deaf in their environment, I felt like another person. As a mother, I felt the evolution in my son regarding what he had before. He changed a lot in the society, in the family, and in the school. In years past, the society and even families considered the deaf child a poor child who could not learn. But things have changed a great deal, and now I can see that parents are talking about their children, and the children are showing off their skills. Sign language can be considered an example of good practice because it enables the deaf to decode concepts, meanings. Given that for every type of person and environment, there is a type of language to be used. Thus, sign language facilitates communication between the deaf and builds a communication bridge among teachers, family members, and others with whom they have contact. Right now we have about 23 students. We have 22 children, separated in two groups. We are working with 2 primary school teachers with pedagogical training at IP, Pedagogical Institute. Despite not having any training in sign language or working directly with deaf children, they are mothers of deaf children. Each one of them has a deaf child. So it was like that. They became members of AAD-ICD. Taking advantage of a bit of their pedagogical training, we managed to create awareness for the group. The AAD-ICD supports for the person who does the sign language interpretation. In fact, that is how we started. We had an element of AAD-ICD, Adelcia, who was working with them and doing sign language interpretation. Since last year, or 2010, we have another person who has also done training in Portugal in sign language, Helena Tavares. She is deaf and also a trainer for trainers in sign language. So she also works with that group of deaf children. The school supported the project. We welcomed the project. We have a classroom. We visit the room. The students participate in activities with the other children. During the break time, all is well. All children socialize. All children play. It is even interesting. We do not realize how important it is for our deaf and hearing students to be socializing together. Perhaps later, they alone will create this integration. Deaf students are more sociable and better integrated. Better performance at school. Students master communication in sign language. Just the fact they are in school with other children means they socialize and learn. Sometimes it is thought that they do not learn anything, but that is not true. They do learn something. We see from the teachers who are in the classroom. From me who passes by, I see them in the classroom. So I can see that something good is happening here in the school. This is an experience that should continue. We should always be open to integrating children with special educational needs. The work has not been easy, but I always look for a way to do something. I have no specialized training, so it is based on some creativity. along with ideas from experts who have had training, who have been visiting and guiding us on how we can work with these children. I was in training some time ago. We learned how we should work with them, how to produce materials, practical things, as well as to look for ways to integrate them and make other colleagues accept these students in the classroom so they can feel integrated.
You have to be patient to teach some lessons in different ways. They do not follow the materials as well as, and are not at the same level of the children without disabilities. We have to teach slowly, and it is a little complicated. We have to be patient in order to progress.
We need to create an awareness campaign. For instance, us, from Bella Vista, we need to walk from house to house to support, to talk to those mothers, to sensitize them in order to put their children in school, even with disability. They move forward if they are in school.
Here, deaf children socialize with other children on the playground. They play with others, they run. At first, they do not talk at all. Now they are talking a little, softly. It is already a sign of improvement. We are taking a step in the right direction.
Oriana's life was like this. She was at home. I used to take her to work, lay her down on a mattress on the floor in a hair salon. I work in a hair salon. And when she got tired, and I finished doing the customer's hair, I put her in my lap. I walked around with her, and we went home around 6 p.m., depending how busy it was in the hair salon. Our meeting was like this. Through the coordinators that work with us, they launched the idea. We were really afraid because they told us that she was not able to sit. We were afraid because we were not sure if we would be able to work with her and achieve any results. When we received her, we felt that everything was normal. We saw that she is like any other child. She has cerebral palsy, but she can adapt as any child can. Yes, she changed. She became more cheerful, and she behaves better with the other children. Everybody thought that our kindergarten did not have the capacity. Even we didn't think that we had the capacity, but we have created the capacity. The community sees her mother bringing her to school, and they ask, "Is Oriana in the kindergarten here?" "Oh, that's great." Everybody found it odd, but not anymore.
Cape Verde é um ar frondoso, sonhado na meia da Atlântica, seis ramas paiol na
É possível fazer.
It is possible to teach these children. And I've had a little training that gave me some basic knowledge. It was a job, which began more with the desire to give that child access to the teaching, learning process. Because as a teacher and as a mother, It is not easy to watch a child with special needs stay outside the school system.
On the first day I started class, I was not expecting to be nervous or apprehensive. I was introduced to the class, and soon after I started handling the Braille tools. I can say I began to feel more comfortable with the situation, which has helped me a lot.
One cannot teach a blind child just with a grade book, or a nudge, or even a sheet of paper. He needs to have other materials. For instance, when he is in integrated science class, we did not have any maps, for example, a globe, to show him, to help him understand where he is in the world.
We made a map using my fist. Here are the tropics, and here's the North Temperate Zone and the North Pole.
So through games, we were able to distinguish one space from another. I thought that the child always had to touch things in order to internalize messages. In a playful way, we were able to create things for him to understand both the object and its context, and in a general way to acquire concepts surrounding that object. Ayrton meant a lot to me. Because he was a boy without any life project. When he went to school, he felt that he knew what he could be. I want to be this, I want to be that, I can do this. And we formed a very close relationship between us, which has allowed us to have an open and spontaneous relationship. I think that it is an advantage. I was his teacher in the 10th grade, and we noticed advantages in the classroom. The fact that Ayrton is in the class means I am repeating subjects more than once. Then the whole class benefits because Ayrton is in the class. All the specific special support for Ayrton benefits the entire class. With a few resources, we can achieve results. And now he has IT classes. He has a computer with specific software for him. He has been showing good results. But even before having these few resources, we still had positive results.
At that time, in 2006, all the work done was around raising teachers' awareness
about the way to work with these children, the methodology used, to involve activities in order to do assessment. At that time, the teachers always used to say there are no elements for assessment. It was just to put the child in the classroom without any activities. All the activity developed in the classroom was done without differentiation of the difficulties the children with disabilities face in the classroom. Now there is already an inclusion, but it is not a full inclusion we desire. There are mothers who still do not believe that their children are able to learn. They overprotect them, keep them at home, and they do not take them to school. all the work of the resource room serves to raise awareness, to motivate and show those mothers that their children are able to learn something and be great citizens.
I used to take him to the kindergarten on my back for 3 years. I also put him in primary school, and he kept going. It did not help, but I kept sending him. I was in the cooperative at that time, and I used to earn 55 euros a month with a sick child. I did not have insurance. I used to go to Praia with him by boat.
The inclusion team covers all of the general delegation, coordinators, and the resource room staff. So we are doing field work with teachers in order to show them proper methodology, the activities they should use with the children, ways to do the assessment, and show the teachers that those children are just like all the other children. It's in this sense we base everything on raising awareness.
He's already in school. He's 16 years old. He takes a bath by himself, cleans himself, he closes the door himself. But he is still facing some difficulties. If there is some food on the stove, he says that smells and turns off the stove. I tell him that it is all right, and he asks if I am in trouble, and I say, no, you are okay. With faith in God, me as her mother, and while I am alive, I will send her to school to the end, or until I can't afford it anymore. If it exceeds my conditions, I can't. But I told her, up to 12th grade, if that opportunity exists in Fogo, I will send her. They treat me well. In terms of getting around, when it is break time, they take me out. When I need to go to the toilet, I just need to ask. They help with everything I need to do. It's interesting when Sylvia says, I want to major in law. This gets our attention. Even the President of the Republic has already come here, and he offered her a copy of the Cape Verdean Constitution in order to encourage Sylvia, to give her support and strength. I like very much to enforce the rules against those wrong things that happen. I like politics. Sylvia's adaptation here is good. Considering her constraints, Sylvia is a student who adapts very well. She does not suffer any type of discrimination by teachers, administration, staff, and especially her colleagues. We end up failing. Why? Because she's so integrated, there are moments we see Sylvia as a person who does not have special needs. I would tell them to have no prejudice. Sometimes kids with disabilities say, no, I do not want to go to school, because maybe people will make fun of me, or perhaps they do not have any way to get me to and from school. They should not be ashamed of that and go, because since I started school, they always treat me well. Hence, anyone that has a person with a disability at home should send them to school. We feel better in school, in society. If we just stay at home, it does not work out well. Thank God, I do not have anything to complain about. My daughter is grown and advanced. His father went to training with his teacher, Alfredo. People came from outside to give them training. The training took place, and now he continues with his school and keeps going. When his classmates do not take him, it is me who takes him and goes to pick him up. If I have something to do, I drop everything and I go. I take him and pick him up. He has some classmates here who are with him in the school, but they passed and he failed in the exams. They take him and they bring him. There are extra classes they give him on Wednesdays, from 9 o'clock to 10:15. I take him every Wednesday and they help him. Mr. Manuel helps him, and I owe him a lot. He makes quite an effort to help him. He has his problems, but I do everything I can to help.
For the children who have a visual impairment, we always enlarge texts. We work with them with enlarged texts. Their assessment is also not the same as the others. Usually, their content is not the same. We always reduce the percentage of their content. And we consider in a scale from 0 to 20, if they score 12, it is very good. Expression class also helps a lot to develop her skills. I can see that she can do many and beautiful projects, and sometimes better than those from the other students. She produces good work in plastic arts. I always encourage her to continue studying. I am always in contact with her mother, and we discuss a lot. Her mother says, Jessica is a good student if not for that problem. I think what we should do is always give her the opportunity. And whenever she wants to participate, I don't always start by asking her to participate, but if she feels that she knows the answer, she says, "Teacher, me." This study demonstrates that it is possible, with the existing resources, to conduct good practices in inclusive education in Cape Verde, which could be replicated in other educational settings. There is much to be done, but together we have a responsibility to create the conditions so that every child has access to education.